patient platypus 288. Yeah, so your injuries, the elbow injury and then the metatarsal, that can really drain you. I think someone commented, right? Like people are saying how frustrating that can be and painful. And so you know, there are some things that you could try, that you could start to do that'll to take action, right? That's what's empowering, taking immediate action and raising your energy, because you say that you're looking forward. You say you go to team training and you're looking forward to end. So here are some things to do that will help you make practice more enjoyable and raise your energy. Okay, so there's a quote that goes, "When the mind is cloudy, move the body." Especially for your metatarsal, and especially for your metatarsal bone and your elbow. This is an RMT rope, and why it's powerful is because it's an effortless way that you can rehab that metatarsal and your elbow, right? Even so it's effortless strength in motion, right? So you could start to, it's powerful because you create a dialogue with your pain, right? So what I mean by that is you could start to say, it's like, oh, well, maybe this feels, maybe pain doesn't go up to 2 or 3, but maybe when you go here, you know, maybe pain goes into 4 or 5. So you could say, okay, maybe I'll dial it back. And then you could just do this with your elbow tucked in, right? So you could start to play around with, where does it feel painful and where does it feel painless? Because then now you can start to operate, right? Let's say you got pain in that foot, and then pain in this elbow. You could still be moving with this left arm in a one-legged balance, and now this is an effortless rehab that you don't have to pay, you know, $100 out of pocket, let's say, and drive an hour there, an hour back, something like that, or maybe half an hour there, spend an hour there, half an hour back. That's like 2 hours out of your day on top of whatever else you got going on, right? Plus, you said you're a student studying, so the whole point is, with a $10 rope, with a piece of rope for $10, you can get it at your local hardware store. Search David Weck RMT rope. This is the first step that you can use to take power, take action, raise your energy. So now you're starting to get more excited because you can start to feel your body getting better, even if it's at 1% better. You get 1% better, right? 60 seconds a day, you build that habit, and then you're gonna start to swing this thing everywhere. I promise you, it'll completely change your life. Okay, the second thing that you could do if you're injured, right? So it's injury rehab. This is number 1, and number 2, the metatarsal and an elbow. Oh, okay, barefoot shoes. Barefoot shoes. The reason why barefoot shoes are so powerful is because for a couple of bucks, right, 40 to 50 bucks you spend on zeroshoes.com. I'm wearing a pair of Sagaros, S-A-G-A-U-R-O, and look, it's a wide toe box. It's a minimalist sole, and what that means is that you're going to get full range of motion in the ankles, which means your ankles act as shock absorbers, right? They're levers. And so if you have a shoe that has a thick sole, it limits ranges of motion in your ankle. And so for that reason, you'll notice if you go for a jog barefoot or in minimalist shoes, the next day your calves will be so sore that you can hardly walk. And why this is important is because what it reveals is that más o menos. Soccer chef. Here, that's good here. Okay. What? Me screaming me. Well, I'm recording right now. I'm doing a video. Do you search me and then we'll see what happens. Okay.
You say that?
See. Search. I'm the soccer chef. Soccer chef. Andrés.
Ah, chef.
Sí,
Chef.
sí.
¿Dónde?
En Estados Unidos, en Rhode Island, Rhode Island. Muchos almejas, muchos oysters.
Ah, sí.
¿Cómo te llamas? Lourdes. Andrés. Es mucho gusto. Nice to meet you.
Yo también mi canal de YouTube.
YouTube? Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah. Sí, okay. El jefe. Yep, yep. Well, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Yeah, right? So each step, it's almost like each step that you can take will make you stronger or weaker. And why that's relevant is because every little thing, right, it's like if you're getting hit with this pain in the arms, if you're getting hit with the pain in the foot, you kind of want to stack the cards in your favor. And the way they're stacking right now is against you. So like I said, if you could scrounge together $50 for the cheapest pair of xeroshoes.com, Xero shoes.com. There's a pair of indoors that are great for they're like boots, but they're great for going out. They're great for weight training. They're great for playing indoor. And so this is called the Einstein technique, and what that means is that you never have to worry about what shoes to wear because you always have the right shoes for the right occasion. Going out to like a nice dinner for breakfast or lunch or something, training, and going to work or going to school in. And so for that reason, like, I'll put it to you this way, these pair of shoes I'm wearing right now, these minimalist pair of shoes, I use them for work, I use them to go out, and I use them for training, right? It's the trinity, all the things you need to look professional for. Okay, so that's number 2. So the question is, can I invest or make an RMT rope and then swing it for 60 seconds a day? Question 2 is, can I invest in a minimalist pair of shoes because it's an effortless way to rehab your feet and raise your energy because you're going to be in less pain? Question 3 is, can I learn Ben Patrick's ROKP? So ROKP stands for reversing out of knee pain. And even though the title is knee pain, why that's important is because as you start to walk backwards, this is an ancient Chinese technique, right? I'm 100% serious. This is what Ben Patrick says. He says that they used to walk backwards because if you spend all the time walking forwards, running forwards, you get used to those movement patterns. And so when you start to walk backwards, it rehabs, right? It starts to rehab. It's a toe-first exercise, right? You start to walk backwards and it's rehab. That whole movement is a rehab motion. So you could do this. You could do this at your school's gym on a treadmill, walking backwards. You could do this walking backwards around the field to warm up before practice and team training. You could do this with a loop resistance band. Where you take one of you could tie 2 loop resistance bands together by a train or on a tree or something sturdy, and just walk backwards and forwards, right? Backwards and forwards. So that's option number 3. Can I learn Ben Patrick's ROKP, reverse out of knee pain? That's technique number 3. And let's do one more because we're at this busy train station. Okay, there's something called it's called hanging. It's by Edo Portal, and this might help you rehab your elbow, right? Because if you put 99% pressure on your body, and then you grab an overhang, you grab a pull-up bar, you grab a tree, and then you put 1% pressure split up with your hands. You grab something overhead, then you could start to take most of the pressure on your body, and then you got half a percentage on your arm with the bad elbow. What you could start to do is you start to play around with the tension that you create in your elbow, because over time it's similar to the RMT rope. You're starting this dialogue with the injury so you can become more aware and pump blood into it. Because if you don't rehab it at all and all you're doing is resting it, then the muscle's going to atrophy. You're not going to pump any blood into it. This is similar to the reason why if you sprain an ankle, the worst thing to do is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. What you want to do is traction and pump blood into it. And this is what most people don't understand. These are principles from Dick Hartzell. You can search him online. He used to rehab every single player who got injured in the NFL back in the 70s and the 80s. His name is Dick Hartzell, H-A-R-T-Z-E-L. They call him the Band Man. So those are the 4 questions. Can I invest in an RMT rope? That's by David Weck. Then it's, can I invest in a pair of minimalist shoes? That's effortless rehab for the metatarsal. And just so I'm getting my anatomy right, in my mind, I think the metatarsal is in, your metatarsals are the feet, right, a bone in your foot, but you know, maybe I got that wrong. So number 3 is, can I learn ROKP or spend 60 seconds a day doing ROKP by Ben Patrick? And then question 4 is, can I spend 60 seconds a day hanging by Ido Portal? And not only is that going to help rehab your elbow, that's going to traction your neck, your spine, it's going to help strengthen your hands. So that's effortless strength and rehab, right? If you think about how strong a monkey is, they're doing monkey stuff, they're swinging from trees, and they're hanging from trees. So give some of that stuff a try. Each one of these things, right? 60 seconds a day. You don't have to overdo it, but you want to start to build the habit. These are all rehab techniques. They're effortless rehab techniques. And you don't have to do all of them. Try one, see how it feels, right? You don't know if this stuff is true. You have to test it out. If some of it's true, then you say, okay, Andrew, he was consistent about what he said on this thing. This thing seems like it started to help. Let me try out something else. And those are good places to start because they're effortless. They're not. There's no barrier to entry. Right? It's not like you got to pay $100 to invest in some. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Right? Just give this stuff a try and reach out with any questions. Okay.